Here we have two coils. One hasn't been wound yet, and one is the only one I could find when I recovered this all-band radio, which I just rebuilt. Now this coil here I would like to make for the upper shortwave bands. So the one that I've already wound here covers in reality from 6 to 10 megahertz. When I wound it, I followed these directions here, 14 turns, 5 1/2. So this, what I've interpreted these to say when I built this, it came out to up to 10 megahertz. The lower end was around 6 megahertz, which is fine. I was perfectly happy with that. Now I originally had a higher shortwave coil, and that covered from above 10, and it went up to whatever, 28 or something. So I'd like to rewind this coil here. So it'll be on this coil form. This coil form doesn't have the grooves that this one has, so it's not as easy to keep the wires in place, but I just have to be careful the way I do it. So L1 will be 2 kilohertz, or 2 turns, and I'll put that here. The L2 will be 3 turns, and that'll be a little higher up, and L3 will be 3 turns, so it'll be 2 feet worth of wire, number 24 gauge wire, same as the other coil. So this one will be an easy one to wind because there aren't so many windings. I'm also going to do a broadcast band coil, which will take 70 turns in L2, so that will be a more difficult one to make. I only have this one coil form, so I'm going to have to determine what kind of coil form. Apparently these aren't available anymore. I can't see these coil forms. They're made by, I think they're made by a company. I think they're made by Toyo. I can't see the name on here. Here's something. It says, no, I can't even recognize it. So anyway, it doesn't matter. I found this one on the internet. And if I'm going to wind the broadcast band coil, I'll either send away for another one of these, or I'll just put it on a pill bottle and mount it on this type of brace from an old dud vacuum tube that I have no shortage of those. So anyway, we'll go into this next and wind it. So here I've cut a piece of 18-inch length of wire. Here that's 12, and that is 6. So here's the wire. So here I've wound the first coil. It's actually L3, and it's 2 turns, so I've taken it out on pins 1 and 2. So all I have to do is bare the wire, bare the enamel off the wire, and solder them into the pins. And L3 is okay. Here I've got the coil L3 all ready to be soldered. Here are the pins on the bottom and there, and there. Just put a drop of solder in. This one too much should come over. And when you get too much solder on a pin like that, you have to kind of throw it off by, there we are. Should be enough. It looks a little too much on the other one now. If there's too much solder on it, it's going to be too big for the pins when it's going to the socket. Heat this up a bit. Heat that up. Now, we'll see if that fits into the socket okay. Usually with these, when you solder wires coming out of the pins like that, you have to cut them very close, like that. And I can see there's a bit of spill over there of the solder still, so that you can usually take care of with a pair of side cutters or a file. So the coil seems to slip very easily into the socket, so I don't have to worry about too much solder on it. So here I'm going to do L2, and it says 5 turns and 5 grooves between the 2 coils. So each groove is about 1 millimeter, so I'm going to do 4 millimeters between the grooves. So there's about 4 millimeters, and it's going to be over 2, 3, going from 3, so let's say 4 millimeters in a direct line. That's there. Just mark it right there. I'll drill the hole. The ink isn't even best I can do. So that hole has been drilled. Now I'm going to have to drill a hole approximately 5 millimeters higher. It's going to be let's see, it's about about there, only on the next one there. So we'll use that as a guideline. This is not making it easy. I'm gonna have to use some kind of something to scribe it with there. So you can't even see that. There. But it has to be over the next one. So I'm going to have to use some wire or something to get that right. So there I've drilled the second hole from 3 to 4, and I need 3 feet of wire.
Okay, where you have to measure 3 feet of wire. Okay, there's 12 inches. By 12 inches. Cut that off. Where are my side cutters here? Now I'll just scrape the ends and I'll start winding. So here I've drilled the hole and wound the second coil. Now I'm just going to solder the terminals. See if the soldering iron is warm enough yet. Okay, the first one. There we are. And the second one. It's a bit of a mess compared to what I did earlier. Yeah, what a mess. Heat that up. Yeah, I think those are okay. I'll just cut them, trim them with the side cutters and they'll be okay. So now we're going to do the last coil. It's 3 turns, 2 feet of wire, and it's only 1 groove separated from L2. So since that's the tickler coil, it will be they need a very I believe it's a high coefficient of coupling, which means that it is the factor that ties in with its ability to apply feedback is very high, so with 1, whereas the other one is just much looser coupled since it's the antenna. So anyway, 1 groove and 3 turns. So I'll see, it should be for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we are. Should be that one, and it would be 1 millimeter. So it'll be very, very close. So here we are going, and I'm going to get 2 feet of wire. Right there. I'm scraping on all sides the enamel right down about a good inch. Might not be enough, so maybe I should go a little more, 2 inches, because it makes no difference to the coil whether there's enamel on it or not. 2 inches is not going to cause it to short out. The part that's on the form isn't being stripped. So maybe on this one I'll go down that much, 2 or so inches, and just turn it so I have enough there that is shiny that I can solder. Here's the finished coil. I'm going to have to straighten it out and put some epoxy on that to hold it in place, or some tape over it. But anyway, that is made, and we'll see how it works. So I just want to see what the frequency range that this new coil has, and I'm feeding a signal from the signal generator into the radio. It's at the low end, and this frequency is 9500 kilohertz. So let's see what the other end has. Okay, adjust the band. So that extreme end is 17 megahertz. So we have 9500 kilohertz to 17 megahertz. So that's pretty fair. On the coil winding chart it said it would go up to 28 megahertz. I don't know how they figured that one out, but I don't even recall the old coil that I used to have on this going anywhere near that. So that's quite reasonable. 9500 kilohertz to 17 megahertz. So anyway, let's see if we can receive a couple of stations. Hook it up to a short wire antenna indoors. Let's see what we can get. Some kind of digital transmission. Let's try the higher end. See a lot of there's a WWV 15 kilohertz, I mean 15 megahertz. It's not bad for a tiny little antenna. Oh, there it's a 1000 or 10 megahertz. So I'm receiving them at WWV at both 10 megahertz and 15 megahertz. Very quiet. Of course, this is a transition period. Early evening. And the reception isn't very good in any of the bands right now. So anyway, I'm getting both of them. That's not bad. There we are. There's 15 megahertz again. Not bad, considering it's a 3-tube radio and a little antenna.